Creating an attack on the sands of Dunkirk can be quite a challenge. Extras, wardrobe, planes, location, plus you can't really leave the house. But there is one canvas that you can paint on to tell your story. The imagination. Welcome to the theater of the mind. Creating a narrative podcast is an exciting way for a storyteller to not only engage an audience, but to also have their voice heard by the film industry. The numbers are growing of podcasts who have been picked up and made into books, films, and television shows. The example we will use here is Limetown. Let's listen into the opening of episode 1.
The first time most people heard about Limetown was on the night of February 8th, 2004.
911, what is your emergency? Hello? 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 Are you there?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. What is the nature of your emergency?
We need emergency services in Limetown. Ambulances, the firemen, police, damages, and the whole army.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down.
Turn it off! Turn it!
Ma'am, are you still there?
17 minutes later, the first responders arrived to the outside gate, followed shortly thereafter by local news station WVPK, where they uncovered the troubling reality. No one was allowed access into Limetown.
Samantha, can you tell us what's going on?
Thanks, Ron. We're standing at the outer security gates of Limetown, and as you can see, there is a large gathering of police officers and firefighters here, but they are not being allowed into the facility.
Not being allowed? What do you mean they're not being allowed? Who's not allowing them, Samantha?
Well, we can't get anyone to speak to us right now, but we can see that there is a sizable security presence on the other side of the fence, and there seems to be an ongoing conversation.
Step back into your vehicle.
Can someone tell us what's happening?
Get back into your vehicle now.
Sorry, we're being told to clear the area now. There seems to be a lot of confusion.
The reason or reasons for their denied access remains a point of contention. The next morning, there was no visible activity within the community.
There is no one on the grounds that I can see, but there does appear to be a large smoldering bonfire, I would guess. There's one large stake in the ground. It's hard to make out from here what I'm looking at.
For the next 2 days, Limetown was dormant. All attempts at contact failed. And on the morning of February 11th, the security team left their post. Police officers on the scene were prevented, presumably by their superiors, from stopping the security team for questioning.
The security at the front gate is now driving away from the facility. Sir, can you tell me what is happening?
The gate to Limetown was left open. What the world discovered was the complete disappearance of every man, woman, and child in Limetown. 327 people.
So, how do we go about adapting something that was written for a visual medium and creating a podcast that works? How can you make your characters, your setting, and your plot sonically interesting? What needs to change in your idea that will accomplish this? Let's begin with setting.
My first view of Limetown, what remains of it, was on a bright autumn day last October.
Now?
I was with Terry Hilkins again, this time in the field.
Well, it's just over the ridge here. You can see the top of the Central Research Facility.
My first impression of Limetown. That's it?
We're used to working towards telling our story visually. Visuals set the tone and mood of our landscape. With a narrative podcast, this will have to be done using sound, a sonic landscape. How can you alter locations to provide more sonic interest? Give your audience an immediate sense of where they are, either through dialogue or, better yet, through sound design. Find one aspect of each scene that is sonically interesting. Music coming from another room, water dripping in the sink, a specific record playing, rain outside on the windshield. The temptation is to over-describe things visually, either in narration or dialogue. Don't do that. Your characters shouldn't spend a minute describing every glistening curve of the monster that's attacking them. Not only is this cruddy, unrealistic dialogue, it makes for poor visuals. Give your audience just enough information for them to paint a picture in their minds. Have the monster drip viscera onto a tiled floor and cause the scientist to mutter, "Teeth, there's too many teeth." Your audience will create a monster far more terrifying than you could describe with 1,000 words.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, she is.
I know she's alive still. I can feel it.
It's the only thing that keeps me going.
He's not gone. I know they're coming back.
With the Narrative Podcast, dialogue becomes a bigger part of telling our story. The challenge is to transport the listener without having your characters tell them everything. When there is dialogue, keep scenes to no more than 3 or 4 characters. If your script has large ensemble scenes, it's best to distill them to no more than 4. Give each character a distinct style or speech pattern. Make sure you use actors with different vocal qualities. Does your story need a narrator? Someone telling the story? In the case of Limetown, the story is moved forward as a radio show host relates a fantastic story to her listeners.
Standing in one of the homes, I was struck with how normal everything was. Not just furniture arrangement or other aesthetic touches of domesticity, but the overwhelming feeling of being a voyeur in someone else's home while they quickly ran to the grocery store. Photos on the walls, clothes in the closets, even junk mail sitting on the kitchen table.
On the other hand, many fiction podcasts don't have a narrator at all. Music, sounds, and dialogue are edited to make the setting and action clear. You will still need some expositional dialogue at certain points in the story when sound alone won't do the trick. The best fiction podcasts make this narrator-free type of storytelling feel effortless, like the audio is flowing over you.
And that was supposed to conclude part 1 of my report. Then something happened. Hello?
God, sorry, my heart is pounding.
It's okay, just take your time.
How do I start? Okay. I have someone you need to talk to.
What do you mean?
She's on the other line.
Who?
Leah, it's a survivor. She wants to speak to you. And only you. I'm gonna put her on now.
But Tara, I don't understand. I mean, why does she want to talk to me? I feel like we should tell someone.
No.
Excuse me?
Miss Haddock, you and I, we are the only ones to speak. No one else. I'm sorry it has to be this way.
How could I believe you?
I'll leave the details with Mr. Elkins.
Terry? Is this real?
Are you still recording?
Okay. Stop recording.
Many successful podcasts add a hook. This can be an unresolved cliffhanger at the end that makes the listener want more. This works in all elements of storytelling. Make sure to work this into yours, not only at the end, but in each section of the narrative. The internet features many sites that have free, downloadable sound effects. Less is more. Use the term SFX in your script before describing the sound. And create a signature sound. If you listen to a successful podcast, many begin with a simple sound or unique sonic landscape. This should help to establish the tone of the story to come and identify your unique brand.